Thank you for joining us. Thanks both of you for being here. This is really a special evening. I think what is special about it is the friendship at the heart of everything that we're going to do tonight. And, when I do my radio show, I find myself all the time telling the stories about the collaborations between composers and performers, the origins of the music, because I think that's actually the most important thing. And I love the idea that that's how the thing starts, and then come centuries and generations and the music evolves and it gets passed down. But that first interaction, that first back and forth, that's really the seed. And you two have had plenty of that in your long friendship.
We go back a ways.
How long?
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, it's so great to be here and see you all. Thank you. Well, it all started, actually we met in Beverly Hills when I was running a little private series. Is your mic on?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Running a little private series, and then I moved up here, and I got a job at the San Francisco Opera in the PR marketing department, which is when I met Diane and Bill all those years ago, and Flicka was singing the world premiere of The Dangerous Liaisons that year, and so my job was to take her around, and we talked again, and we just hit it off, so it had nothing to do with me being a composer at first until I handed her a bunch of songs, and she really inspired me to want to write music, and so I wrote a set of folk songs for her at the opening night of Dangerous Liaisons, and I gave her, and with this little wide-eyed look of terror, I could see her going, "Oh goody, the PR guy writes songs, yay." Because she said, what are these?
No, I didn't. I threw my arms around you and leapt with joy.
And then she came in early the next performance, and we read through these songs, and I'm playing, she's singing over my shoulder, Frederica von Stade is singing over my shoulder, these things that I wrote for her, and I thought, it doesn't get any better than this. And then she says, "These are really beautiful. Do you want to give a concert together sometime?" And I thought, let me check my calendar, but I'm pretty sure we can make that work.
Yeah. And we did. We did lots and lots of them.
Lots.
And I have to tell you what the feeling was inside me when I heard these songs, because they were just exquisite in different ways. Inventive, beautiful, the most exquisite treatment of words and story. So I was overwhelmed myself, and I was doing myself a big favor by asking to do a concert with Jake.
And then that's what started us writing things together, and me insisting that she be in my first opera when that opportunity happened just a couple years later, but we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that.
It is the foundation of a lot of my career, is working with Flicka, and the generosity and the heart and the spirit of this amazing woman, not to mention a little bit of talent, and always looking at the people, the young people coming along, always wanting to create opportunities. And that is a lesson that I have taken to heart. So, and I tell young people all the time, you're never too young to be a mentor and a guide for someone else, who's just behind you. And the same way you look for someone to open doors for you, you can open doors as well. And that's always been your philosophy.
Yeah. And with a talent like Jake's, ain't nothing can keep it down. There's just nothing. Whether it burst out way back then, or wasn't that far back.
It was a long time ago.
Or, I guess it
was back in the 1900s.
That's true. That's true.
Remember
Jake.
the 1900s?
Remember, you guys? That's true. But when there is a talent that big, it's going to seep out or it's going to burst out, but it's there.
But it's also something that I say to young people when I work with them. It is about finding your people, right? It's about finding your people, and that's the music, and that's also just the chemistry and the understanding and the thing that leads to collaboration, and then that grows other things. And I think it's one of the most fortunate things when we find those connections in our
Absolutely.
lives.
And also to remind people that all of this is about collaborating. It's about showing up, making music, sharing ideas and perspective, being in the room together. that's where all the good stuff happens. And so that's the magic of, music, is the collaboration. That's what I'm all in for. Yeah. And being in theater, I mean, ultimately collaborative, because every single person is participating in creating this amazing thing.
Do you know that I've been playing this new concerto that was written for me by Adolphus Hailstork, who is a composer who is 82 or 3 now. And we were giving a talk a few weeks ago at an orchestra where we were playing the piece. And he said something about the fact that he had written this piece for me, and we had gotten to know each other, and so he had crafted the piece, for the person that he thought I am. And then he said, how most of his work is writing for institutions, and not having that personal information. And I thought, that is such a weird thing, that most of the work is just for an orchestra or a pianist, anonymous.
I can't imagine.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
And Jake forms a very special connection to all the artists that work with him. We're all his kind of chickens. And he keeps up with us, and he pays attention to us, and he remembers us, and it's very, very, very special. And they're not, that is something that is, it's so special about the collaboration with everybody. We all feel a part of your life,
Well, but it's also, I can't write unless I know who I'm writing for. I just can't. It's like to say, are you writing a violin concerto, or are you writing a concerto for Joshua Bell? That's a very different thing, right? Are you writing a song for a mezzo, or are you writing it for Frederica von Stade, And I say, imagine you're a young screenwriter, right? And a producer or a director says, oh, we're doing a movie about Eleanor Roosevelt, and we'd like you to write the script. And you're like, okay, fine, Eleanor Roosevelt. Oh, by the way, we have Meryl Streep as Eleanor Roosevelt. Changes everything, right? Because all of a sudden you have clarity, and it's specific. And that's what I need, is that clarity. Because when it becomes specific and super clear, then it can be a lot of different things.
Right.
But if it's just gray, then it never means anything,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there were those first folk songs, and then there were other songs, and then there was Dead Man, but we're not talking about that yet. But I want to talk about the collaboration, the creative collaboration around Paper Wings. So the way I've understood it is that you asked Jake to write some songs that were going to be dedicated to your daughter.
To my daughter.
And
yeah.
he said, I'll write the music if you write the words.
Right. Yeah. Jenny Rebecca. Well, my oldest daughter is named Jenny Rebecca, and she is named after a song that Barbara Streisand sang. It's written by a lady named Carol Hall, but we named our Jenny after the song. And so I always thought, oh gosh, I really should write a song for Lisa, who was 2.5 years younger. So who better to turn to than my friend over there? And so John Hall was gonna help us, and then he wasn't available, and Jake said, why don't you write the words, because you know her. And
Pretty
so
well.
I kind of know her, and I wrote 5 songs, and we debuted them or sang them once at in Cal performances. And Lisa was a teenager then, and she didn't have tattoos, but she had piercings and short black hair, and was very kind of out there at the time. And so we did the rehearsal for her, and she came down to the front of the stage.
And I remember looking at you going, oh, she's coming to the edge of the stage, because she did this out of love,
Yes.
for her daughter.
Yeah. And she says, Mom, that was the most embarrassing thing you have ever done to me.
We thought, mission accomplished.
Yes. And she kind of likes it now. She's in her 40s, so. But it was just, how could you do this to me, Mom? This is so embarrassing.
But anyway, the set of songs, you told little stories from your childhood and from Lisa's childhood.
Right.
And
Which came first, words or music? In that?
always the story that we
yeah.
want to tell.
Right.
And then she wrote the words, and she gave me permission to sort of like fuss with them as the music became different things, and also to pick and choose. Because she just really wrote reflections and meditations and stories, and then
And
we
she was
organized them.
She was an adorable little girl, of course, too. And she's an adorable big girl now.
Well, and they are adorable songs.
We're just so adorable.
Would you like to do some of them?
Yes.
Sure.
We're going to do two of them.
Yes.
The first one is called Paper Wings, the name
Right.
of the cycle. And it tells a story about when you were a little girl living in Greece.
Yes, we lived in Greece after the war. At the end of the Second World War, we moved to Greece. And my brother and I had this wonderful girl that was sort of like our au pair, and her name was Signorina. She was Italian, and she made me wings out of paper once, and I just remember thinking, flying around the house, and then thinking, oh my gosh, I can fly up to the top of Athens and look at Athens. And then the second song is a true story in my daughter's life when she went out through a little window onto our roof, and we both got stuck out there. And I'll just tell you that it's a true story.
And if you're wondering where thematic material comes from in the second song, I was trying to think of what can I do that would be fun. And if you think of For Lisa, Für Elise. Okay, now you know. Okay.
Now you got it.